Hey guys, Eric and Roth here, and we got some sucky news today.
Not happy.
Not happy. Hannibal, freaking Hannibal, one of the best shows on TV, has been canceled. First reaction, Roth.
My first reaction is, why can't we have nice things?
Yes.
Why can't we have nice things? And the fact is, just the sad, tragic fact is not enough people were watching the show. Not enough people were watching the show. Why, I ask you, Eric? Why were not people watching the show?
That is a good question, because obviously the show is not lacking for great reviews, and the people who watch it and love it freaking love it.
Yeah.
And you'll see so much online showing that love for it. But yeah, its ratings were very bad, and its ratings were lower for season 3, so it wasn't even gaining viewers season to season.
Well, immediately, sort of when the season premiered and the ratings were dropping, I got nervous, and I was like, why? No, watch it. There's so much good about this show. There's so much to speak for it. Even if you're looking for things that are propulsive and have action and have horror and all of these elements. So I ask you, Eric, what is it that we have to do to get people to watch quality programming? That
in general, I don't know. We just everyone's minds need to change. We need to have a osmosis moment as a humanity. But in the meantime, I want more Hannibal. And that's immediately the question, of course, is, are we going to get more Hannibal? We live in crazy times where TV shows are getting resurrected seemingly every other week.
Yeah.
Some years later, but some right after they've been canceled. We just have had like the Mindy Project's canceled. Hulu saves it. That was a year after Community had a similar thing. Longmire's canceled. Netflix saves it. So what is your feeling? Do you think Hannibal will be saved?
I do. Yeah, I think it'll be saved. I think that NBC was always a very weird fit for this show.
Yeah.
And it maybe never should have been there in a way. And maybe could have found a more niche audience elsewhere. This just like is a very odd fit for this particular network. And maybe that was part of the problem. I do think it can be saved. I think it can be saved and go online. I think that it can be a sort of cult show that works for a lot of different places. What do you think? Where do you think it might go?
I don't want to get ahead of myself and get too, it's definitely coming back, but I would be surprised if no one saves it. Given what I was just saying about how like these days more than ever, it seems like shows that have any kind of following can get saved. But also, yeah, the fact that we had heard in previous years when it was on the bubble, its first year and its second year, if it had been canceled, we heard, Brian Fuller himself said that he felt pretty safe that if the NBC had canceled it, that they had people interested.
Right.
Well, there's rumblings that had always been Amazon, which makes a lot of sense. Amazon has exclusive streaming rights to the earlier seasons, which some would say has been a problem for the show because Netflix is kind of the go-to.
Right.
But if Amazon wants to make it an original, series coming off a year where they're getting, more acclaim in their own realm on that, I'd be all for it as long as someone continues Hannibal.
I agree, and maybe in a certain way, it's good for their brand at this point as they are trying to get, and they have gotten sort of more attention to their original programming, as you've said, with Transparent in particular.
Yep.
But this would be a very different kind of show. It's got a built-in cult audience, not a huge audience, but a cult audience that absolutely loves it. They may sort of feel more loyalty to Amazon after that and be willing to check out their other programming.
Yeah.
Right?
And, repeating some conversations we've had, on the podcast and other venues here on IGN, there's always, everything is its own situation. And there's people that were really upset, say, that Constantine got canceled. And no disrespect to people, like, I liked Constantine, but there are a lot more reasons for Hannibal to be saved. When you are 3 years in, so you now have, like, catalog of the show, you have such good reviews, reviews that are very unusually good for a genre show on TV. There's a lot of reasons for a smaller outlet looking to make waves to want Hannibal, even with its small audience. It's an attention getter. It will get them so much good buzz, and a lot of. Hannibal's one of those shows with a small audience, but gets a lot more write-ups than you'd expect because the fandom is so looking for stuff about it.
Yeah. I agree with all of that. I think it could be a great fit for both the show and sort of that platform at this point. Fingers crossed. I mean, that's what my sort of like monkey face is about, is like, let's make this happen. We obviously can't make it happen,
not
on our own. I think that for a show like this, the fandom is really important. Being vocal is really important, sort of appealing in a large way, and then just being loyal. actually watching it, actually trying to get other people into it is really important if you want a show like this to continue and go on.
Yeah, I saw some other people tweeting similar sentiments today, but don't be one of those people who, you know, years from now was like, I finally checked Hannibal out. That was a great show. It is a great show right now, and you're absolutely right. You know, NBC was always a weird fit, and I think did stop some people from watching who never could believe, despite what we told them, that the content didn't hold back. And was very intense. And I don't know, I think it's going to get so much attention, honestly, from the cancellation. Maybe it could help in the long run. Knock on wood that we don't have right here, but mythical wood, that it gets saved. Brian Fuller's talked often about the long-term plan he has and telling Hannibal Lecter's full story, and I just want to see it finished.
I want to see it finished too. I think that we all want to see it finished, but you're right. I mean, sometimes when something is under threat like this, that's when the audience galvanizes and they get kind of loud, and there's a lot of noise out there, so you do have to get loud, but that's what Twitter is for, people.
Yes.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, and we should say before we wrap up here that De Laurentiis company who produced it were already tweeting today. They had a lot of interesting tweets today and said, yes, they are trying to save the show. They're talking to people.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll find out soon. I would love nothing more for this video to be irrelevant very shortly if it's saved very quickly.
And that it is announced that it's fine and it's moving forward.
Fine with a 2-year commitment to wrap up the story. Hey, something like that would be great. So that's our thoughts. This is why we're optimistic that Hannibal will be back. What about you? What do you think about NBC canceling it? And are you, pretty hopeful it'll be back? Let us know in the comments for more on Hannibal, because first of all, we'll be reviewing the rest of the season and hopefully beyond. Keep it here at IGN.